The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.
Great things, my fellow warriors, boy Meckanimal, and today we're going to discuss whether or not a beginner should start with training strength versus hypertrophy. Which one should you focus on first when you first start training? And to be honest, this is going to be a biased opinion, and but to be fair, at the same time, it's gonna. I have like a reasoning behind it. So to give a general answer, it doesn't really matter whether you start by training hypertrophy or strength. Eventually, both are correlated, and a bigger muscle is likely to be a stronger muscle, or have the potential to be a stronger muscle, to say the least. And at the same time, the quest of strength will ultimately give you more size. So they are codependent. And to come down to my opinion, I will focus on strength, and based on my previous choices, training clients in the past 10 years, I've made sure that my client built a strong and solid strength base as soon as possible. So it will come down to figure out whether or not focusing on strength too early will not be detrimental to the current fitness level. But either way, most of the time, within a month of training the basics, we are ready to hit on strength training head on. And so for most sports, we usually focus on strength training, and eventually you can branch out and start mix matching strength training and hypertrophy by having some concurrent periodization, even on a linear periodization. You could still have some block of strength, and you follow up in the future with some block of hypertrophy. But at any given time, I always like to have some type of strength training, especially for beginners, because it takes just a little bit of stopping from focusing on strength for them to lose themselves completely in a hypertrophy protocol, because the pump and the feeling of workout that comes with hypertrophy training is so addicting that I always try to make sure that they have a little bit of strength training somewhere in the current program. So it would just be either full-blown strength training, or a hybrid of strength training and hypertrophy training. And the difference is not so much. It comes down to figuring out the intensity that you want to use for a certain rep range, and usually the rep range that's optimal for both a hybrid of strength training and hypertrophy training will be in the vicinity of 8 repetition, and even 5 repetition. I would say is kind of it will likely yield some type of hypertrophy, but I consider that my basic strength training, especially for beginners, because 5 rep range training would give a beginner a good amount of strength base. And as you get up in the rep range and lower the intensity to within 70-75%, then you can crank up the rep range to 10 or 12 repetition and have some type of hypertrophy stimulation. But keeping it between 10 and 5 is a kind of a good hybrid of strength training and hypertrophy training. So in general, I I stay within 8 and 5 repetitions when I'm training my client for strength training, and then maybe some burnout sets at the end of the routine or on a different day for a high volume and low intensity. We can crank up to like 12 repetition, for any given exercise. And that's that. I wanted to make this video to let people know that you don't have to worry about the weight being too heavy because you're a beginner, because any beginner have a certain amount of strength that you can work with, so figure out whatever you can exert maximally, pick like an 80 and somewhere around 80% or 85%, and you work with a 5x5, which is a basic strength training scheme that most people all around the world are using. So it just comes down to figuring out actually how much you can maximally exert without breaking form, meaning a technical failure, and then pick a percentage of it and work with basic 5x5 or even a 4x8 if you want to go in the hybrid range. And of course 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 12 will be somewhere in the hypertrophy range if you were to want to program yourself in within that that protocol. So that's that. Enough talk with whether or not we should train strength or hypertrophy. So to sum it up, anything will be just fine as a beginner, as long as you get moving, get started and get moving and never stop. That's the main secret. But as for myself, I like to focus on strength because I love strength training. Because a stronger being is a harder being to kill, whether it's physiologically, in terms of fighting disease like cancer, systemic condition like diabetes and high blood pressure, anything. It's proven that the stronger being is harder to kill. Now we go in the physical realm. Obviously, you were to get in fight, a stronger being is harder to kill. You were to get stabbed, you're likely to absorb more of the impact if you have more muscle. You fall, for example, you're likely to resist the trauma by being stronger. Your reflexes, pretty much a stronger being is harder to kill. That's why as soon as possible, as I get to train my client, I focus on building a solid strength base. And most of you guys are stronger than you think you can. You are, and have so much more potential that you think you can achieve. All you gotta do is set yourself right, get yourself in the right condition, and be led by a good, coach, or having some type of good guidance, and you should be just fine. And once you get into it and you realize that you are so much capable than what you think you would if you were by yourself, or if you were just laying there on the couch at home, then everything is just amazing once you realize how much potential you have. And for that reason, I have this shirt here, don't be a couch potato, and you can be just a power potato. So, and now sitting in the couch, anybody can get strong, get started. And that being said, like, comment, subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. We don't know what's going on with those YouTube algorithms. We're consistent out there. We're putting out some good content, but still we're getting some pathetic amount of views. It's still okay, because I know that out of all these few hundreds of views, I have 1 or 2, 3 people out there whose life is getting changed. So I'm just asking you guys to like. Just mentally, sometimes it's a good feeling to see that people are supporting your grind. All right, everything is and we always be the Meckanimal way. Salute.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will be live.